Can deserts be used to grow food, to feed low-income families in some of the poorest neighborhoods in the world? In today's episode, we are covering an inspirational story about growing food in the desert in one of the poorest areas of the US. That's not only giving fresh vegetables away for free, it's giving young people the tools to turn desert sand into fertile soil and teaching them how to grow their own food. New Mexico is a state in the southwestern US, right below Colorado and next to Arizona and Texas. It's known for its stunning deserts, mountains, and rich cultural history, but it's also one of the poorest states in the country where access to fresh, healthy food is a huge challenge, especially in rural areas. Over 20% of the state's population, that's more than 400,000 people, don't have easy access to a grocery store with fresh produce. Instead, they're relying on convenience stores or fast food, which often means fewer fruits and veggies and more processed, unhealthy options. And the situation is even more alarming for young people because 1 in 4 kids in New Mexico are experiencing hunger issues. In rural parts of New Mexico, the nearest grocery store might be 30 miles away or more. For families without reliable transportation, that's a huge barrier. And even in urban areas like Albuquerque, some neighborhoods are packed with fast food restaurants but have no easy access to fresh produce. However, today's incredible project is taking bold steps to change this. Deep in the New Mexico desert, incredible transformations are taking place in some of the poorest neighborhoods in the country. Abandoned urban spaces are being turned into fertile vegetable gardens. School gardens throughout the regions are teaching pupils not only how to grow food, but also how to transform desert sand into highly fertile soil. Abundant community farms have been created, which are all growing healthy organic food, which they are providing for free to their communities. And it's all thanks to a group of motivated community leaders, volunteers, and paid interns called Project Feed the Hood. And they are using an innovative compost system to turn desert sand into one of the most fertile types of soil for growing food.
Schools have the potential to grow so much food for our students and for our families and ultimately for our communities.
I first have a connection with the plant and getting my fingers in the dirt.
The technical term is a food desert. We don't like to use that term because deserts are thriving ecosystems and thriving communities.
We plant many plants here on this farm, but we harvest only one thing. And that one thing is consciousness.
In Albuquerque, New Mexico, Project Feed the Hood is creating gardens on empty urban spaces. This thriving farm is located on what used to be unused land belonging to Van Buren Middle School. That's been transformed into an abundant garden to teach the students and provide free food for the community. Travis McKenzie is one of the co-founders of Project Feed the Hood and a teacher at Van Buren.
Schools have the potential to grow so much food for our students and for our families and ultimately for our communities. We just have to start thinking about our landscapes like edible landscapes. How can we create a landscape into something edible?
About 10 years ago, Travis McKenzie and Rodrigo Rodriguez started a program to convert lawns into vegetable gardens and teach young people how to grow food. Now the project has grown into a network of edible landscape projects with dozens of school gardens. It's creating urban vegetable gardens on unused land, and it's setting up community farms. The project even has an intern program where intern students do real work and get paid for their time.
It changed a lot because usually at the beginning of summer I was just laying inside watching YouTube on my phone. So I wasn't really doing nothing, and then my friend, he told me about this job, so it was a really good change. Cleaning up the aisles and like harvesting the stuff is not that hard, but like digging holes or like the compost is kind of hard.
Teaching the kids about compost, and really it's carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and water, and those 4 elements create earth. And we try to stack it like enchilada style.
Composting is one of the key aspects Feed the Hood wants students to learn because it's a reliable and simple way to make the soil they need to grow food here in this arid desert region. Stay tuned to see another special composting method they are using here to grow food in the desert later in the program.
We're, I think, a little bit lucky in New Mexico to not be so far removed from our agrarian heritage and, lots of our grandparents were still farmers, and so it's a little bit easier for us to put ourselves back in the picture of being a part of the ecosystem, being a part of the land.
The project is also connecting the farmers of the future with farmers of past generations. They hold regular knowledge exchange meetings, and Lorenzo Canaleria is a farmer in the South Valley who is a mentor to the Feed the Hood students and interns.
We plant many plants here on this farm, but we harvest only one thing. And that one thing is consciousness. The ability to understand our connection to this mother that we call Earth. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have this right here.
On another location, not far from the Albuquerque airport, a community garden has been created on what used to be a wasteland full of trash, broken bottles and needles, which has also been transformed by Project Feed the Hood.
This is the Ilsa and Ray Gardenia Community Garden. It's our 9th growing season. Previously, it was an emergency landing strip. All this land you see is City Aviation Department land, and so we work with them and many of our local representatives to use this particular plot for growing food.
When Project Feed the Hood first started working this land, they had to haul out trash, needles, broken bottles, and concrete. The neighborhood is dense with apartments, most of which are low-income housing that have never had gardens or public spaces. Feed the Hood volunteers and interns transformed this space from compacted dirt to raised beds and planted rows. They built a shade structure, and they plan to add an agroecology center to train local leaders like Lucero Velasquez as they grow food here for the community.
We came out here to Project Feed the Hood and we started weeding, and I really didn't know what gardening was about. I didn't know a lot of plants and how to distinguish the leaves from the weeds.
But since then, she's learned a lot and now sees her work as part of a broader effort to improve her community.
You guys can see in here too, there's a bunch of ladybugs.
I first have a connection with the plant and getting my fingers in the dirt. I feel connected, and I say, plant, you and me, I and you. I'm just helping you grow taller, helping you be fruitful. And in turn, it's just a reflection for the way that I want to grow. And if my community is there picking out the weeds and clearing a path for me so that I can flourish, I'm going to want to do that here in the garden too and help in the little ways that I can.
One of the techniques they're using at Project Feed the Hood to turn compacted, lifeless desert sand into highly fertile soil is the Johnson-Su composting method, which creates compost high in microbes and fungi. The idea is to create soil with the fertility of an old growth forest, which is the most fertile type of soil on the planet due to its high microbe and fungi content. Fungi and microbes greatly improve the health of the soil, which has been measured to increase plant yields. The Johnson-Su composting method is odorless, doesn't attract flies, and doesn't need to be turned. Essentially, it works by composting organic matter that's been soaked in water using a container that's made from wire mesh, a pallet, landscaping fabric, and plumbing pipes. The compost mix is placed in these homemade containers. It's kept damp at 70% moisture levels by a sprinkler system or watering. These pipes, which are removed after a few days, leave space which allows air to circulate. The process takes a year, and the end result produces a clay-like substance high in microbes and fungi. Here you can see a 5x increase in growth on the land on the right, where compost was added to the soil, compared to the left-hand side, which was left untreated. And this is the result at Project Feed the Hood. The soil on the left is desert sand from the neighboring plot, and soil on the right is from Project Feed the Hood. Project Feed the Hood is making a difference in low-income areas, where fresh, nutritious food is not easily available.
The technical term is a food desert. We don't like to use that term because deserts are thriving ecosystems and thriving communities. What has been created, this lack of food access, and so the need for fresh, nutritious foods is here, especially organic, affordable. You know, the community garden, it's free.
You can follow Project Feed the Hood's amazing work on Instagram or check out their website. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.